Namaste. Welcome back to your basic foundational yoga posture of the week, where over the next several weeks, I choose a basic foundational yoga posture each week to break down and demonstrate as to how to get into the pose, some of its benefits and some modifications to help you get more easily into the pose. My name is Jessie, a.k.a. Moonchild Yoga. It is a pleasure to have you here for this basic foundational yoga posture of the week. Virabhadrasana Two, Warrior Two is the posture that I am demonstrating this week. And so last week we did Virabhadrasana One, Warrior One. So this week is Warrior Two, and then next week will be Virabhadrasana Three, Warrior Three. So the three warrior postures are where we are at in this little journey. So I'm going to start by showing you the basic way to get into the pose without using any modifications, any props, or anything of the like. So starting in the center of your mat, you're going to step your feet about 2 to 3 feet wide. This is a two-sided posture, so you're going to do this posture on the right side and then on the left side. Each time I am practicing or teaching a two-sided posture, I always start on the right. So the right side is where we are going to start with this pose. And keep in mind when you're spreading your feet wide, that is different in each one of our beautiful bodies. So if you can't get your feet even this wide, that's okay. It's a good place to start, actually, if you're a beginner and you're not experienced in these postures, to have your feet a little bit closer together. Again, I'm going to demonstrate how it goes in my body. So with the right toes, all 10 toes facing the long edge of the mat, and they are in line with, your feet are in line with each other. You're going to turn the right toes towards the short edge of the mat, and your left foot is going to be at about a 45-degree angle, and you want to check that your heel on your front foot is in line with the arch of your back foot. And then once you are in that stance with your feet, with the front heel in line with the arch of the back foot, you want to extend your arms out nice and long. Your torso, so the entirety of the front side of your body, is facing the long edge of the mat. You want to bend into that right knee and sink down with your hips. So your right knee should be stacked over your right ankle. You should be able to get a decent view of your big toe on your right foot. And then with your arms long, you're going to bring your gaze over your right middle finger. So your gaze is going to come forward here. And then you're just simply going to breathe in to what you feel. And then to come out of the posture, you're going to begin by bringing your gaze back towards the long edge of the mat, towards me, and then drop your hands down by your hips, straighten your front leg, and then bring all 10 toes to face the long edge of the mat. And then you're going to heel toe your feet back into hip distance. So back into our very first basic foundational yoga posture of the week, your Tadasana, a.k.a. mountain pose. And as I previously explained, this is a two-sided posture, so we're going to come into the posture on the other side. So demonstrating this posture from the left side. So same, you're going to be in the middle of your mat facing the long edge, so facing me if you'd like to practice along with me. And you're going to step your feet out, 2 to 3 feet wide. And of course, that depends on your own body. And so this time we're coming into the posture on the left side. So bringing that right foot at a 45 or so degree angle. And then the left toes are going to face the short edge of your mat. You're going to extend your arms nice and wide, so nice and long. Gently tuck your tailbone up toward your belly button. So any standing postures, it's really good to do that subtle and slight maneuver because it really helps to lengthen your lumbar spine and it also helps to turn your core on. Soften your shoulders down your back. Begin to bend into that left knee. So left knee stacked over left ankle, sink your hips down low. You'll notice that I kind of scooched that left foot forward. So that is what works best in my body to be able to get the full benefit and the full feeling of the posture. And then you're going to bring your gaze over your left middle finger and breathe in to what you feel here. And then, of course, to come out of the posture, we'll lower our hands, straighten that left leg, nice and gentle and slow. All 10 toes face the long edge of the mat. And then heel toe your feet back up into center, back towards your Tadasana, mountain pose. A couple of simple modifications for your Virabhadrasana Two, Warrior Two pose. If you're having trouble keeping your arms extended long, you can always place them on your hips. You can even simply have them hanging down by your hips, so just having your hands hanging down by your hips. Just remembering to do at the best of your ability to gently tuck your tailbone up towards your belly button and keep your shoulders soft down your back. And having that right knee stacked over that right ankle are great options to release any tiredness that you may be having in your arms or in your shoulders. If you have tight hips in this posture, instead of coming into it with the heel to arch alignment, so the front heel perfectly in line with the arch of the back foot, you can come into this posture heel to heel alignment. So you would simply step this left foot just a little bit off to the left and bring the left heel in line with the right one. Another modification for your Virabhadrasana Two, Warrior Two posture is to come into the posture up against a wall. So having a wall as a support is really great if you are having any sort of issues with balance and stability in general or specifically in this yoga posture. Having a wall to do it up against is a really great way to feel what the posture is like without feeling like you're going to fall over or you're going to lose balance. So if you're going to use the wall as a prop, you're going to step your feet about 2 to 3 feet wide, and once again being mindful of what that is about in your own beautiful body. So we're all the same, but we're all different. So it is totally okay if you can't step your feet super wide. And we'll come into the posture to begin with on the right side. So you're going to point your right toes towards the right. You're going to check your heel to arch alignment. So having that right heel in line with that left arch of the foot. Or you can apply the previous modification that I mentioned earlier about heel to heel alignment. So having that left heel stepped out a little bit can help with tight hips as well. And then you're going to bend into that right knee. So you're going to sink down here and separate your feet out as wide as feels good in your body. If you have space in between the knee and the wall, if you need to take up space there and that's not comfortable, that's where this lovely foam block comes in. So you can absolutely place the block in between the knee and the wall. You're going to gently tuck your tailbone up towards your navel, draw your shoulders down your back, and then you're going to draw your arms out nice and wide, and your gaze is going to come over your middle finger here. So see if you can draw that left shoulder back even more against the wall. So being up against the wall also is great to help with alignment. So it helps you to really feel more into the posture and where you are in space as you are in the posture here. And then, of course, If you're having issues with stretching your arms out wide or holding your arms out, you can always place your hands on your hips or let your hands hang down by your hips. And to come out of this posture, we're going to come out like we came in. So we're going to begin by lowering our hands, grabbing a hold of that block if you have it in between your knee and the wall. Straighten that knee, so your front knee, the one that is bent. And then bringing your toes, all 10 toes, to face towards the front. And then just heel toe your feet back together. And making your way back into your Tadasana, mountain pose. And then same other side for this pose, up against the wall. So we're still using the wall as a prop. So you're going to step your feet out once again. That's always where we want to begin in this warrior pose. Stepping your feet out nice and wide. You're going to turn those left toes to face towards the left, checking that heel to arch or heel to heel alignment. And then you're going to bend into that left knee, sink your hips down low. And so once again, this is where our block comes in. So if you would like to use a block in between your knee and the wall, you can absolutely place it there. And that actually helps to build some strength in these muscles in this area because you have to work to press that block up against the wall. You're going to tuck your tailbone up towards your belly button, let your shoulders be soft. And then extend your arms wide if you're coming into this option. So once again, you may want to keep your hands on your hips, and that's totally okay. Or let your hands fall down by your hips. And whichever version you're coming into, if you're extending your arms wide, you're going to let your palms face down towards the earth, reach through your fingertips, and then let your gaze come over your left middle finger and see if you can work towards just gently pressing that right shoulder up against the wall. And then to come out of the posture, we're simply going to lower our hands. We're going to grab a hold of that block, straighten the front leg, so the left leg. The front leg is the side we're on. And we're going to bring all 10 toes to face forward, placing the block down on the earth, and then heel toe your feet back into hip distance, back to your Tadasana, mountain pose. As I have mentioned in previous videos, when it comes to modifications, the sky is the limit. There's a plethora of modifications in pretty much all of the standing or seated yoga postures that are in existence. And so in these videos, I aim to break down just a few of the modifications that there are for these postures. And also in previous videos, I'm pretty sure in each previous video that I've recorded and posted, I have shared a modification using, or several modifications, using a chair. So Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2 is no different. So if you're using a chair, starting on the right side, as we've been doing before, you're going to come to the center of the mat, have your chair off to the right. I suggest having the back, I suggest using a folded chair if you have one. They're a really good height for this sort of thing, especially for shorties like me. If you do not, any chair will do. But the folded chairs are really nice because they're at a really good height for this. So you'll have the back of the chair where your back would be or resting on the chair if you were sitting down towards your right hand. And you're going to step your feet, once again, 2 to 3 feet wide, however that works in your body. And you're going to be turning your right toes towards the chair. And then once again, checking either the heel to heel or the heel to arch alignment, however you need to come into the posture in your body. Place your right hand on the chair and you're going to bend into, I slipped there, you're going to bend into your right knee and let it come towards or even to the back of the chair. So it just depends on how close you are in distance to the chair. I find that having the chair there, even if you're not touching it, as a prop is kind of like a security blanket. So once again, these modifications are really great if you are having issues with instability, or if you're just kind of concerned that about coming into the posture, if it feels overwhelming. And so you have the right hand on the chair. Perhaps you place the left hand on the hip, or perhaps you go all out and extend the left arm behind you. So these are really good places to start with these modifications if you have not explored these postures. And then if you want to get real daring, perhaps you extend your right arm after you have explored the posture. So you extend your right arm out and come into the full expression of the posture, knowing that all along the chair is here for you to rest your hand back down on. And then to come out of the posture, you'll place your right hand back down if it's not already there. Let your left hand rest down also. Straighten the right leg. All 10 toes face the long edge of the mat. And then heel to your feet. Back all the way up to a hip distance stance, arriving in your Tadasana, mountain pose. And then exploring this posture on the other side. So a quick note about two-sided postures. If you have not ever practiced yoga before, or you're just learning about yoga, what I love about two-sided postures is you almost always will experience each posture differently on each side, on different days as well. So my left side, because I'm right-handed and the right side is dominant for me, my left side is a little bit weaker, generally speaking, than my right side. But nevertheless, that does not stop me from coming into the postures to the best of my ability. And so on the left side, we're going to step our feet out once again, about 2 to 3 feet wide. You're going to turn those left toes towards the chair, checking your heel to arch or heel to heel alignment, depending on what works best in your own beautiful body. You're going to place the left hand on the chair and then bend into that left knee. So your left knee may or may not touch the chair. You always want to work to keep the left knee off just a little bit to the left, or whichever side you're on, so you can view the big toe of that same foot. And you also want to work to keep that knee stacked over, so in line with that ankle. You don't want to be too far forward and you don't want to be too far back if you can help it. And then, of course, we have our left hand placed on the chair. Perhaps you start by or stay with just having that right hand resting on that right hip. Perhaps you extend your right arm out behind you. And then perhaps if you'd like to come into the full expression of the posture, you release your left hand and gaze over your left middle finger. So you always want to keep your shoulders soft and down away from your ears, and you always want to tuck the tailbone just gently forward and up towards the navel. And then just breathe into what you feel here. And then, of course, as always, to come out of the posture, you're going to start by releasing the left hand down. So onto our little security blanket, our chair. Release the right palm down by the right hip. Straighten the left leg. All 10 toes face the long edge of the mat. And then perhaps you use the chair as leverage as you heel toe your feet back into center and back to your Tadasana mountain pose. As with previous postures that I have demonstrated for our basic foundational yoga posture of the week breakdown, I have demonstrated all of them with using a chair and seated in a chair. And this posture, Virabhadrasana Two, Warrior Two, is no different. So you can absolutely explore this posture in a chair, particularly if you have problems getting into the posture standing, or if standing for long periods of time just does not work for you. While doing the postures in a chair will bring a different experience, it can absolutely be very beneficial. So without further ado, we're going to come into this posture, of course, to begin with on the right side. So when I'm doing postures like this in a chair, I have to scoot myself a little bit forward. It helps me to be able to get into the posture more easily. And so with a bent right knee, we're going to bring that out to the right, and then we're going to step that left foot back. So kind of similar to how we did our Virabhadrasana 1 Warrior 1 posture last week. And once again, you want to check your heel to arch alignment or heel to heel alignment, same as standing. And you've got your right knee stacked over your right ankle, so notice how that's directly in line. And you're going to extend your arms out nice and wide. Back your torso up to be stacked over your hips. You'll feel a nice sensation along the left inner thigh as you do that. And then you're going to reach your fingertips long and then just bring your gaze over your right middle finger and then simply breathe in to what you feel here. Shoulders are soft down the back. Tailbone is gently tucked forward and up, pressing into the knife edge of the back foot. So that's the outer edge, the pinky toe side of your back foot. And then once you are finished exploring this posture, you're going to come out like you came in. So let your fingertips fall down and then bend that left knee and come back to center for your seated Tadasana, mountain pose. And then same other side. So coming into this posture in a chair on the left side. So we're going to walk our left knee, our left leg, out to the left. We're going to step that right foot off behind us. And you may have to readjust yourself a little bit in the chair. I absolutely have to do that. Same as doing these postures standing, you experience different things on different sides. And so then you extend your fingertips nice and wide. Keep your shoulders soft, tailbone tucked up. Left knee stacked over left ankle, and your gaze is going to come over your left middle finger. And then breathe into what you feel here. Soften your face and jaw. Bring your tongue off of the roof of your mouth. And then to come out of the posture, float your fingertips down. Bend that right knee back up on the chair. And come back to your seated Tadasana mountain pose. And some benefits of your Virabhadrasana 2 Warrior 2. So very similar to Virabhadrasana 1 Warrior 1. So this posture helps with balance and stability. It strengthens the legs. It can be and is a moderate to strong hip opener. It also helps to tone the arms because you're extending the arms out wide. And it helps with calmness, focus, and clarity of the mind. Thank you so much for joining in this basic rundown of our foundational yoga posture of the week, Virabhadrasana 2 Warrior 2. I do hope you enjoyed this content. As always, I am open to any comments or feedback. Also, any questions that you may have, please leave any of those in the comments section, and or please feel free to reach out to me personally. And I hope you have a lovely day, and I will see you soon. Namaste.